look at some trades. Sorry, this is just a short session. Let's look at some trades in the market. So before that, let's go to the FOMC meeting today. So if you look at the FOMC
gold now, because I jumped from 20 something, I got 2073. What's happening on gold?
Why not? All right. So I had to mute. All right. So let's go back and look at FOMC. So FOMC statement. So increase in interest rate, but this was the previous 5.0, and this is what was released 5.12. So there is an increase of 25 basis points, but that was what was forecasted. So although it's an increase, it is not really a significant, like any significant change in the market. So we are still looking at a weak USD. But for you to have a good interpretation of how they want to approach the news in general, or how that is going to affect the market in the next meetings and subsequent months, you now need to look at the press statement. So you go here and then you read the release. Okay, this is actually, this link is a video. If you want to trade, you don't have to be lazy. These are the kind of things you need to be spending time on. Right? It might not make sense to you. You don't really need someone to explain to you. Just try to make sense out of it. Go to the charts. The last time he said this, how did the market react? The last time he said this, what did the market react? And you can learn something like that, right? The only time you are not doing anything is if you decide not to learn anything at all. If you decide not to learn anything at all, that's when it becomes tricky. Yep. So let's go back to the chart. So we have a weak USD. No, not really. So according to the news, it's a strong USD, but my interpretation is that the dollar is going to be weak because of, which has already reacted. But the FOMC is not just about what the market is going to do that very day. It's not just about that one candle movement. It's after that. And that's why, like, I advise most people to even stay away from trading, wait after the news, and then trade stress-free with catching all the relevant moves in the market. Okay. So let's look at gold, because gold was the trade. Gold was a trade that got to the zone. Gold was the trade that got to the zone I was talking about. So we had gold tapping into this level, right? So if you know what you're looking for, you just wait for gold to come back to your relevant level. So this was a tip of the zone. So if you got in here, I didn't even expect this to continue pushing, right? If you still held this trade, this is crazy. This is almost 500 pips, right? So the point here is, you don't have to rush, especially if you don't know what you are doing and you are in the market. You are just being stupid, like just dashing your money to the market, because like no one is sparing you. Like the market is moving so fast that you can't even close your trade. So if you don't know what you are doing, stay away from the news. If you know what you are doing and you're trading the news, that makes sense. If your account is small, stay away from the news, because sometimes you only be taken out because the spread increases and it swallows your account, right? So just make sure you understand what you are doing before you attempt the news. And when you do that too, don't try and make so much money in that trade. Just keep it simple, because mostly the news will give you significant movement in a short period of time compared to what you would normally get. So just keep it simple. But if you don't know what you're doing, you stay away completely. So we have price tapping into the zone and pushing. But for the other USD pairs, we didn't really have price pushing into the zone. So GBP USD on the, where was the zone? I clean up my markup, so I was not sure the exact zone I talked about. So forget about that. So currently, this is what I'm looking at on. This is what I'm looking at on GBP USD. So this is a major psychological level, 1.25000. Right? What I'm looking at is a pullback. I'm not going to take the sells, but if price pushes into this zone, so the zone start from 1.25280 all the way to the psychological level, anywhere between this zone, I'm looking to go long on GU. So that's my plan for GU, waiting for price to push down here to continue buying. AD USD, this is what I'm looking at. This zone. So this is the zone we're waiting for. Price pushed up, they didn't enter the zone. So when price pushes into this zone, I'll be looking to buy AD USD from here. And for targets, I'll just target the top here for now. Depending on price reaction, you might decide to hold all the way up here. Based on how this 8-hour candle closes, is a little tricky here. So I would update on, I'm not sure if I remember, I'll update it, but you don't want this current H4, H8 candle. Damn, it closes in 6 hours. That is tricky. So maybe it might just tap into the zone and reject, but if it closes bearish below this candle here, that is tricky because of the bearish momentum. We could continue pushing, but if you're looking at a 4-hour, what you want to see is price pushing into this zone and then rejecting. So you want to see one candle push, at least rejecting from here, and then you look to buy this all the way up here. NZD USD is also very similar. Price did not get to the zone, but currently price is sitting in the zone. So this is the zone I marked just before the news. This was the zone I was looking at. So this is a major resistance break and a retest, and it's also sitting on a liquidity zone, right? So this is a good level here to be looking to buy now. So this is a good trade to buy now, but it's a little tricky. The only reason why you need to be a little careful is that AUD USD would be looking to push down a little bit. And if the AUD USD and NZD USD have very similar movements, so if this is pushing down, this is also most likely going to push down a little bit. So how do you approach this? Wait for how price reacts here. Let's say the next 4-hour candle closes bullish somewhere above here. You can look to buy and then put your stop below here. But buying now is tricky because we are in the Asian session. There's not much volume, so that makes it a little tricky. Yeah. The next thing I'll be looking at is GBP AUD. So this is another pair that I trade often. I didn't really get a good entry on this trade, but personally, I was looking for a reversal. I wanted to see price reverse from this psychological level here. But the market just opened and it just blasted through the zone. So at this point here, I'm going to wait. I'm not sure how this will close, because if it closes around this level or reject around here, that is a head and shoulders pattern. So this is what I'm referring to. So this will be head, shoulder, shoulder. And if we get a rejection here, this could give us a long-term push to this level here. So this is something I'm keeping an eye on to see how price reacts here. But it is very tricky because price has breached this zone. But this candle also have 2 hours and 30 minutes more to go. So it has not closed yet. Right. Next thing, Euro USD. So Euro USD, yesterday I was looking for a reversal around here. So we had a first rejection from here. First rejection, price came here. I was expecting price to continue pushing, but then the momentum of the market switched completely after the news. So in the morning, I think I posted this trade where I was like, the bias has changed on Euro USD has changed. So if you're on the Telegram, I'm sure you would have seen this. Right. So from that message, if you're selling, that was like an alert for you to stop selling, right? But because this has already started from here, if we're not buying from here, it is tricky. Like that's why I didn't even call any trade here, because at this point here, even if it was going to push up, selling, buying at a high is always a bad idea. You are sitting at a high level, right? You don't want to buy at this level. But if price has pushed back into this zone, then you'll be looking to buy. So now there's a lot of significant pushes on all the USD pairs. You have to stay patient for the pullbacks, because what can happen is there are people that will start trading in the direction of the USDs now. And then when the pullback happens, they'll be in trouble. And when the actual move is actually about to happen, they've lost money, right? So another thing I'm looking at is USD CAD. So USD CAD has not really moved. USD CAD has not really moved, and we have a weak USD. So what we are looking at is, this is the high, right? So this is a very clean head and shoulders pattern that is setting up here. So we have price sitting on this level here. So what do you want to see here? You want to see how this candle reacts to this zone. Ideally, you want to see a rejection of here, an H4 rejection here, and then you can sell this from here all the way back down to the resistance. So that is about almost 200 pips here. No, is it 200 pips? No, that looks too small for 200 pips. That's like 100 and, no, hold on, let me just measure it. But it doesn't matter when you're trading, just measure it yourself. Oh, it's like 80 pips. But if we break this low, we have way more time downside to go. But I would just be targeting this level here. But I think I might just start selling this right now. But the trade is only valid if it does not break the high. But I will just start selling here, ready to risk and put my stop loss somewhere above here. But the best stop loss will actually be here. So if you're selling here, you should be ready to risk. You should be ready to put your stop loss here for 48 pips. So you'll be risking 48 pips for 95 pips. So if something that makes sense to you, you can just start selling now. But if not, you wait for the rejection and then you sell and put your stop loss. If it rejects and you are selling, your stop can be here. So let's say the next candle rejects and closes somewhere here. Then you can now have 32 pips for 83 pips, which is a good risk reward ratio. So however you want to fuck around with this, we decide that. So Euro JPY, this was one of the trades I called. No, I didn't call UJ. I called GJ. So today this was a trade we took on the signal. I called just one trade, GJ. We pushed up into a little bit into loss, and we're now about to hit TP1. So I'm currently in this trade with those on the signal. Because of the volatility, I didn't call any USD trade on the signal, and I was waiting for gold, and I didn't want to do any pending order. So what I'm looking out for the JPY, especially Euro JPY, I want to see a retest of this zone here. Depending on how price retest here, I might be looking to buy, but I'm not really sure of a bullish trade yet. But what I'm looking for is price pulls back here to test this resistance here. This one. That would be a good trade. So we'll continue selling from that level into this zone. So this might continue going down because we sold around here and GJ around here. But if you're now looking to sell, this is not a good time for you to sell. This is what you want to look for. A pullback to test this resistance here. And then you'll be looking for about 115 pips, no, 104 pips, sorry. GJ, similar thing, right? If it pushes back a little, you can look to sell, but ideally on GJ, I'm not really sure what could potentially happen here, but mostly the JPY pairs will do something similar, right? So on the 3-hour time frame, there is this significant resistance here that price might pull back into. So price pushes back here, you're good to sell this, right? ADCHF fucked me up because I was selling here. I sold earlier on within the week, and then the news fucked me up. I lost about 6,000 on this trade. And I didn't take the sell and then reverse all the way back to my ultimate take profits. I would have made like more than double what I was anticipating initially. So currently there is no trade here. Like when the market hit take profits, don't force any trades. Currently there is no trade here. So you wait for the next structure. If it makes sense to you, then you find a trade. Like there's people that will be like, oh, I hate take profits. So they start taking the opposites. That is very naive. You don't have to do that. But looking at the way this candle closed, this looks like more potential for downside. But for me, after this momentum push, if I want to see price retrace a little bit before I continue selling this to the downside. Or reject here and push up. So that's why it's tricky. TP hits, you have no business. Just wait for the next structure. And the next trade I'm looking to take, I just sold that trade now, is NZD card, but it is risky now because price is sitting on this level here. So what ideally you want to see is that you want price to break this level and pull back to give a lower high, and then you can sell to the next resistance. So that is how I think you should look at it. I got in here, I've broken even, so I'll just let the market do its thing. Similar structure on NZD-CHF. So with NZD-CHF, there is more room for price to go down. So, but there are some potential levels to keep an eye on. The next resistance here and the next resistance here. So the best trade here would be this. If you are looking to sell, well, you need to see a pullback into this level here. When it happens, you're looking for this, a pullback here, and then you sell here. But when you are selling, because there is another level that is sitting here, your stop should be above that level. Should, in case the market decide not to respect this zone, you know you are still covered. You want to put your stop above here. So that makes it a little tricky. But when you have a scenario like this, it means you are preparing for the zone above, even though the risk reward is like almost 1.2. When the market now pushes like this, let's say you took the sell from this zone and the market decides to push up. What you are now looking at is to have another trade from here. Right, so you have one trade that is in a loss and a new trade that is starting from here, which is a way better. So in that case, you can be a little flexible, put your stop above here. You don't want to put a stop loss above at the same point and get taken out of the same thing. So even if you get taken out of this profit will cover this loss here, right? So this is how you approach a scenario like this. So I would take some questions now, and if you want me to look at different pairs that I've not looked at, I just quickly run through them because if you have any specific pair that you want me to look at, you can type in the chat box. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself if you want to talk. But if not, then this will be the end of our short session. I don't know, maybe I should upload this video on YouTube. It's been a while. Uploaded on YouTube. Right. So any question for me? USD-JPY. Oh, USD-JPY AUD card. All right, let me look at USD-JPY. I already have a bias on USD-JPY. So I think USD-JPY should continue selling. USD-JPY should continue selling. Yesterday at this level here, I was looking at price testing here before it sells, but unfortunately it didn't come here. So sometimes you just need to have a plan. The market follows your plan or it doesn't. If it doesn't follow your plan, you have nothing to lose. But if it does follow your plan, that will give you a good trade. So I was looking at price pushing back after the news yesterday. After the news. So yesterday when we took the loss on gold, I was looking at price pushing back into the zone to sell. But then it broke below here and it continues selling. So this is the next zone I'm looking at. This is the next zone I'm looking at. I'm looking at how price reacts here. So if price rejects this zone here, give some nice price action here, I'll be looking to buy. But when I'm buying, I'll only be buying to, I think there's a zone on the 10-hour I'm looking at. Yep. So if I'm buying from here, I'll be looking at this level here. If that happens, that might be what brings the gold all the way back down again for the push to continue again. So if this push up, that means the dollar could become if this push happens, it's going to cause gold to dump. It's going to cause gold to dump and the US dollar is going to be weak. And then the move will restart again. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let me look at AUD card. So AUD card, I've not looked at it, but it will have a very similar structure as AUD card. All right, so in that case, you'll be looking to sell AUD card. But let's have a look at it, AUD card. If you're looking to sell NZD card, you should be looking to sell AUD card too. Yeah, so if this closes bearish, it's a good sell. But this is tricky, but you could target this, which you might not get. Right? If this closes bearish here, you can sell this and take profit here. Yeah. Yep. Continue selling from here. So that's what I think about AUD card. Just wait for this candle to close. Hold on, let me. Oh, this is 8-hour time frame. Sorry. All right. So this could come back into the zone here. But if you're ready, if you're ready to put your stop loss above here, you can sell now. But ideally, what you're looking out for is a close below here, a retest of the zone, and you sell all the way down here. You can take partial profit here, right? So the last question here is CAD JPY. So this person wants to know if CAD JPY, he should continue holding CAD JPY. CAD JPY. CAD JPY. Whether you should continue holding CAD JPY, you're in profit. You don't know if you should hold it to 97,990. 97. $97,990. Where is that? Okay, so this is all the way here. Huh. That is tricky. So we could see price coming all the way down here. Hold on. Let me scan my levels and see if there's any significant level. So what could happen here is, I don't know where your position is. If your position is anywhere above here, you can hold it, because what will happen is, if price pushes back here, there's a CAD news tomorrow. So if CAD is strong, you could be wiped out. So it depends on, if you hit take profit before landing session, you are good. If by landing session this has not dropped, you should close your trade in profit, because what could happen is you have price pushing all the way back down before it pushes here, right? But if it is all the way down here, then maybe the news might push it back into the zone. So it depends on how it is, because it's like, how do you call it? We have almost about 8. So 8 hours from now would be what, 4 a.m. at my time. That would be landing session. So that's 2 more 4-hour candle. That should be able to bring price here if price wants to continue the momentum. Or even if it pushes here now, then you know the news might push it down here. Right. So just wait till landing session and see how it is. Wherever it is by the beginning of landing session, close your trade. All right. So I think that should be it. And yep. I might upload this video on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch it, yep. And yeah, see you some other time. I hope you learned something. If you're on Twitter and you learned something, tweet and tag me.